Good afternoon from the farmer's garden. I'm one of the farmers and I'm in the chicken pen right now. Squirt is going to help me for just a minute. I have a list, a 2-page list of questions that one of my friends has about raising chickens. So she saw my video yesterday and she texted me and she's like, "Can I send you a whole list? I have all the questions. And she's new to raising chickens, so I was like, yes, please send me the list. Please tell me what it is that you have questions about so that I can cover it correctly in my video. So I just got an email with this 2-page list, and I'm going to cover a few of her questions in this video. So I'm not going to get to all of them because that would be a long video, but I'm going to get to a few of them. So the things I'm going to cover, I'm going to talk about nest boxes and just miscellaneous questions today. So I'm going to start with miscellaneous questions. That's why I'm holding Squirt. All right, one of her questions, I need to find a place to set down my list here. One of her questions was, what do I need to do about chickens with broken feathers or pulled feathers or bare spots? And this is actually something that you see a lot with chickens. So chickens lose feathers for a couple of different reasons. They lose feathers when they are henpecked, meaning that they're kind of crowded, and some of the chickens will be more dominant than others. There is a pecking order, a pack order. So if you think about your dogs, you may have 3 dogs, and one of them for sure always gets the first treat, and one of them might always get the last treat, unless he like really rushes in. You're okay, Squirt, you're okay. So chickens are the same way. They have a dominance order within the pen. And so if you have too many or you have some age differences, sometimes you see birds start to be pecked. So I'm going to show you something on Squirt. Squirt was given to us last year. She had been a pet chicken, and she was the last pet chicken that was left, and she was getting lonely. So she came and joined our flock under the condition that she get to live out her years here. So Squirt is a few years old. She's actually our oldest chicken, but because she was a pet, she likes to be touched, or at least she did like to be touched right up until a couple of weeks ago. Spunk likes to chase the chickens, and he normally does not hurt the chickens. He just likes to herd them around. But he got a hold of Squirt because she's like, oh, he's gonna pet me, and she sat down and he got her. And it was pretty ugly, but I'm going to show you how that's healing up and show you what we use to treat it, and then I'm going to talk to you about when to know what injuries on chickens need treatment and which ones don't. All right, so when Squirt got dog chowed, she squatted down much like she is here in my lap right now, and so Spunk was able to get right here on her back, and all of this part was open. It was all chewed. It was chewed up in here. You can see there's still some scab there, but you can also see that feathers are starting to try to grow in. So Squirt, I'm going to let you go now, Miss Thane. Thank you for showing that off. You can see that she is healing, but when that first happened, it was open, it was bloody, it had been chewed on by a puppy. Which brings me to this. If you have chickens or goats or dogs or really anything, get some Wonder Dust. What we did with Squirt, you couldn't really bandage her neck. It was too open for stitches. So what we did is we dusted this. I'll show you. It comes out as like a really fine powder. And so we dusted that in that open wound. And what that does is it kind of seals any open blood vessels. It keeps it clean. The flies and stuff don't get in it, and it allows it to heal. So you saw that Squirt is actually healing up. She's getting feathers and she's getting better. So that was an actual attack. Obviously that needed to be treated. But now I'm going to see if I can show you some other birds that would not need treatment. Hopefully they'll be still long enough for me to show you. So I'm going to start with this gray bird right there. This is about a 1.5-year-old chicken. You can see on the base of her tail there, she's bald, and that is just because she has been henpecked. She's low man on the totem pole, and the other chickens have pecked her. Until there is blood there, which sometimes chickens will peck until there's blood, but until we see blood there, she will not be treated. She will be left alone. You can also see that her other feathers are looking really kind of downy and fluffy. That is because those feathers are kind of getting ready to come on out of there, and so she's starting molt. Molt was another question that my friend had. This girl right here has that as well. See, it's kind of downy fluffy. She is starting molt. So molt is done every fall. Each fall, your chickens will molt, and that actually applies to most birds. Even, you know, cardinals, mockingbirds, geese, most birds will have a molt period in the late summer or fall. And all that means is that their old feathers are going to fall out and make room for new feathers. They're going to look awful when this happens, okay? Some chickens handle it better than others, but be prepared. Your chickens may look like they've been through a weed eater, okay? Feathers break, feathers fall out. When they start to get new feathers, it's like these tiny little ugly sticks, kind of like what I showed you on the back of Squirt's neck. So when those feathers start to come back in, it doesn't look good. But molt is just all of those old feathers falling out so that new feathers can come in. It generally starts kind of on the tail and moves around. Now they won't, most of them don't ever have a period where they're completely bald. It kind of goes in patches, but they look bad when that happens. It's not anything to be concerned with. There's nothing you need to do to treat it. There are feeds available, like feather fixer type feeds, which have additional nutrients to help them grow feathers back. I've never swapped feeds during molt season, but it is an option. One other thing to know about molting, okay, so our chickens, we buy chicks in the spring. So these chickens that I'm showing you right now are, they were hatched in February 2021. You remember the chicks in our laundry room during Snowmageddon? That's these girls. So these are about 1.5 years old. If chicks are born in the spring, they do not molt the fall of that year. They wait and molt the following fall. That's part of why we like spring chicks versus fall chicks. Fall chicks, so if they were born in the next few weeks here in 2022, they would molt in 2023. You wouldn't get 18 months before the first molt, you would get 12. During that molt, they slow down egg production. They put more effort into feather growth, and so they don't lay eggs as well. And after that molt, and each successive molt, their eggs will change in size. Usually the eggs get bigger, and they get less frequent. That's just, each molt is like marking another year for them. I'm older, I'm tireder, I'm going to have less eggs, but they might be bigger eggs. And so what we do is we start with spring chickens, spring chicks. We raise them from spring of 21 until fall of 22. And then these chickens we will actually sell as they begin their molt. And so that means we don't sell them for quite as much because they are starting a molt, which means they won't be laying as well while they're getting those new feathers. After they get those new feathers, they'll lay fine. That brings us to another question that she had. How many chickens do I need? How many eggs do you want? Most laying breeds, and I'll cover breeds in another video because that's kind of a whole thing, but most laying breeds will lay about 6 eggs per 7 days. So if you have a dozen chickens, you have the potential of picking up a dozen eggs a day. If you don't want to eat or sell a dozen eggs a day, I'd recommend not having a dozen chickens. So think about how many eggs you eat and how many eggs you could eat when you're burnt out on eggs, because that happens. How many eggs are you willing to give away? And then decide chickens that way. Now certain breeds, the more ornamental breeds, the fancy ones that just look pretty in the yard, those don't lay as many. Dual purpose breeds that are good for meat and eggs, those don't lay as many. But we'll cover all that later. But you need enough chickens for how many eggs you're willing to eat. All right, one of my friend's other questions was, should I intervene if a rooster is plucking my hens? Now this friend just got some hens from a friend, and some of her hens are bald on their back, and she was told they were starting molt, which might be possibly true, but it's a little bit early for most chickens to be starting molt, and I told her I thought those chickens had been with a rooster. What happens is chickens have to breed just like other animals, and as the rooster, the hen will squat down, the rooster will stand on her back. As that happens, the feathers get broken, and then they either break off or fall off. And so they just don't have feathers on their back. And then also I told you, like I showed you the one that had been plucked, and so that happens as well. You do not have to intervene. They make, like you can buy them on Etsy, chicken aprons, which are little covers that you can put on. It kind of hooks around their wings and it covers their back and it protects them from the rooster's feet. It's not necessary as long as the rooster is not so aggressive that he's drawing blood, which shouldn't happen if they have enough space and if you have more than one hen per rooster. Having enough hens in with your rooster is important, otherwise they just continually mount the same hen and that wears them out. But you can get the little covers and that helps them some. But otherwise you don't have to intervene with the feathers that are falling out. You don't have to treat it, you don't have to sunscreen it, you don't have to put anything on it. If it starts to bleed, wonder dust, because anything red chickens will pick at. They're omnivores, and so red is blood, and they're like, ooh, something red, and they'll pick at it until it really bleeds, and they can pick at it until they kill the chicken. I have not had that happen, but it can happen. All right, so that brings us to her next question, because it's about roosters. Does a broody hen need a rooster? So we talked about broody hens in my video yesterday. I said a broody hen is just one that's trying to hatch eggs. No, she doesn't need a rooster. A broody hen simply wants to sit on the eggs. Some breeds are worse about it than other breeds, and some people want chickens that will set on eggs and some people don't. I showed you yesterday my chicken, I can just reach right under, pick up the eggs, and she's fine. Some of them get really aggressive. When Gracie was little, we had a breed that would really come after her. She couldn't go in the pen because that broody chicken wouldn't come off the nest until Gracie went in. It was just her thing. But no, you don't have to have a rooster. It's not going to change the broody hen's attitude one way or another if you do have a rooster. You don't have to let her set on the eggs. You can take those eggs out from under her every single day. Some of them will continue to sit there for 21 days, even though you take the eggs every day. Some of them get the hint after a few days. Most of them do not lay as long as they're sitting. So if she's sitting there for 21 days, she's sitting there not laying you an egg. So you might want to move her. You could put her like in a dog crate or something for a few days, and that kind of distracts her, and then she'll stop trying to set. You can break her up from doing that. But no, you don't have to have a rooster. It won't hurt your chicken's feelings one way or another. Instinctually, she knows you're supposed to sit on a nest this time of year. She's just following instinct. She doesn't know that there are no chicks inside there. All right, one of the next questions that my friend had is, how do I know how many nest boxes I need? Do I need a box for each hen? No, you don't. This is currently the nest box that I have available for my older chickens. It is literally a cardboard box. I have a lid in there to hold their nesting material, which they're still scratching out on the ground. And you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 chickens decided to lay in here today. 13 of them. So no, they do not need their own nest box. In fact, I'm going to try to say this with a straight face. This one makes me laugh. Okay, there are 13 eggs in this nest. These came from 13 different chickens. People will often tell me, I have one chicken that always lays 2 eggs. She lays 2 eggs every day, and I have to just bite my tongue because, as I've said over and over on our channel, a chicken reproductive cycle, it takes about 25 to 26 hours to lay an egg. These people that tell me this generally find this situation right here. 1 egg, 2 eggs. Oh, this chicken laid 1 egg. Oh, this chicken laid 2 eggs. No, this chicken laid 1 egg. 2 chickens used this nest box. They just took turns in it. You do not have to have a nest box for each chicken. You don't have to. I have, I think it's 40 something chickens in here, and I have this many nest boxes, and they're going to be just fine. You need enough roost space for everybody. You need a place for them to sit. They don't sleep in here most of the time. They don't see it as a 1 person at a time or 1 chicken at a time situation. One of them goes in and lays an egg. She comes out and somebody else goes in and lays an egg. As long as you have enough space that they're not breaking eggs, which we are dealing with over here. We have to get them a real nest box. But as long as you have enough space, they're not breaking eggs. They do not have to have their own individual nest box. Okay, so that was a handful of questions off the 2 pages that I was sent today. I hope that helps to clear up a few things. And I've asked on our Facebook page, and I'll ask here as well, if you have something specific that you have wondered about, please let me know. On my list here from my friend, I've still got selecting breeds, I've got what is safe to feed them and what's not, raising babies, which I will get to that. We do have chicks in our incubator right now. I'm not doing an incubator video right now. This is my first time incubating, and so I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing before I try to teach you. Oh. But I will get to babies. But I'm going to do selecting breeds, and I'm going to do things that are good to feed them and things that are not good to feed them, and we're going to do all those things. But for now, we've covered a few more of those miscellaneous terms. We've covered if they're molting, is there anything that you should be doing? Anything that you need to do different if they're broody? Anything you need to do different for nest boxes? We've covered all that. So I'm going to call it a day for videos. I hope that you have enjoyed your visit to the chicken house. I'm going to go back inside where it's cool. Y'all be sure and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and come back when you can stay longer. I'm going to try to get this gate latched, and then I'm going inside.